In this video, I will explain the topic improving decision making and learning. How we can improve our decision making and learning. So many factors I will explain and how we can improve decision making and learning. So as you can see on the screen, if it is visible, yes, now it is visible. There are several ways in which an organization can overcome the effect of cognitive biases and promote organizational learning and change. So now you see so many cognitive biases are there, which I have already explained, and now how organizations can promote learning and change. Okay, so the first way to promote organizational learning and change given, I think it is visible. So here is strategy for organizational learning. What are different strategy organizations use for organizational learning? So there are three ways in which managers can stimulate the unlearning of old ideas and the learning of new ideas. Okay. So three ways here given, three ways in which managers can stimulate the unlearning of old ideas and learning of new ideas. So three ways by listening. So first way here it is given, I am underlining here, listening to dissenters. The first way here it is given by listening to dissenters. Second given by converting events into learning opportunity, and third given by experimenting. Okay, so three ways are given, three ways by which managers can unlearn old ideas and learn new ideas, and the managers also the same these three ways used to make people to unlearn old ideas and learn new ideas and new ways of doing things. So first way given here, listening to dissenters. To improve the quality of decision making, top managers can make it their policy to surround themselves with people who hold different and often opposing points of view. So what in this so listening to dissenters means in this strategy, managers, particularly top managers, try to keep people around himself or herself who have different and often opposing point of views of things. They can try to collect new information to evaluate the new interpretations and alternatives. Now you see here, they can try to collect new information to evaluate the new interpretations and alternatives generated by dissenters. Yeah. So this is the first way. Second way given, converting into learning opportunity. Converting events means whatever events are there. So managers try to convert those events in learning opportunities. Third given, experimenting. So managers here, to encourage explorative learning, organizations must engage experimenting the process of generating new alternatives and testing the validity of old ones. Okay, so that's here. Experiment means just try to learn new things. Here engage, here managers try to experiment, let the experiment to happen in the organization. He or she encourages explorative learning. Organizations must engage for explorative learning, so that is related to experimenting. Organization must engage experimenting the process of generating new alternatives and testing the validity of old ones. Okay, the process of generating new alternatives and testing the validity of old ones. Experimenting can be used to improve both incremental and garbage can decision making process. So this is also useful, experimenting for incremental and garbage can decision making processes. So that's all about the first strategy for organizational learning. The second way by which decisions can be improved and learning can also be improved is by utilizing game theory. So what this game theory tells, so it is better from the top if I go on. So at the bottom it will be clear. When making decisions, managers need to think in two related ways. Okay, so utilizing game theory. So in this theory, according to this theory, when making decisions, managers need to think in two related ways. So what are these two related ways? First way here given, they need to look forward, think ahead. So now you see, they should look forward, think ahead and anticipate how rivals will respond to competitive moves. So I think that is clear. They need to look forward, think ahead and anticipate how rivals will respond to competitive moves. That is the first one. Second given, managers need to reason backward to determine which moves their company should currently pursue given their assessment of how rivals will respond to various future moves. So these are two related ways. So these are two related ways by which managers can improve decision making and learning. So the first one it was, so thinking in the first way, look forward, think ahead and anticipate how rivals will respond to competitive moves. So this is related to the future activities. Second given, managers need to reason backward to determine which moves their company should currently pursue. It means here looking backward means looking in the past. It means what the moves which the company chose which resulted in better performance and increased effectiveness. So those things will help to determine so in which way the organizations should behave. If managers do both these things, they should be able to make the decision that will lead to the best choice, to make the move that will lead to the greatest potential return. So when managers do both of these two things, then they should be able to make the decision that will lead to the best choice, to make the move that will lead. Means if they are using these two, they are considering these two things, then in that case they should be able to make the decision that will lead to the best choice, and in this way greatest potential returns will be there. Third number given, nature of top management. Third number given here, nature of top management. So nature of top management can also be used to improve decision making and learning. The way the top management team is constructed and the type of people who are on it affect the level of organizational learning. There are various ways to construct a top management team, and each has different implications for the processing of information, organizational learning and the quality of decision making. So means the way the top management team is structured will decide, or you can say will make influence on how decision making will be and how different types of learning will occur in the organization. Most learning takes place when there is considerable heterogeneity among team members and when members from different functions have an opportunity to express their views. So what given? Most learning takes place when there is considerable heterogeneity. Means if in the top management people from different backgrounds, different viewpoints are present, then in that case that it will be effective. Okay, decision making will be effective, it will be improved, and in the same way learning will also improve in the organization. Fourth given, persuasive communication. So what is this persuasive communication? Is is the attempt by one person or group to transmit and share information with another person or group to get the latter to understand, agree with and work to achieve new and challenging objectives. So now you can see here it is an attempt by one person or group to transmit and share information, okay, with another person. Here attempt by one person or group to transmit and share information with another person or group to get a letter, means here simply transmitting information in such a way or share the information to others in such a way so that the other person will agree to work according to that information. So such information, such type of communication will be persuasive communication. So for persuasive communication to be effective, what are different ways? So it is necessary to frame or package information in ways that influence how people to accept or believe in it. Okay. So means communicate in such a way so that the people are going to accept those facts and values. Then in that case, that it will come under persuasive communication. So why we need persuasive communication? So that's given. A need for persuasive communication arises when one party lacks any authority to influence the other party. Okay, when one person lacks the authority to influence the other party, so then that in that case persuasive communication is very important, because here authority cannot be used to make other person to work according to the information. So in such cases persuasive communication helps to make other people to work according to the information. 5 factors which decide, means here given 5 factors which determine how persuasive a message will be. So first given characteristic of the sender, means what type of sender is. Okay, characteristic means the personal characteristic of the sender. Second given active listening, means managers should listen carefully. For third given content of the message, means what type of content it is, that will affect whether the decision making will be better or not, and in the same way whether the learning will be better or not. Medium of channel through which it is sent. Okay, and the fifth one given the characteristics of the receiver. So these all 5 points we should consider. Okay, so now here I was. So one by one I will explain these factors. So characteristic. So in the persuasive communication, the characteristic of the sender will affect how persuasive the communication is. So in which case when they are sent by people who are credible. Okay, if the message sent by if the message is sent by the credible person, then in that case the communication it will be persuasive. Okay. Second given active listening. So what it says, persuasive senders need to actively listen to see how their arguments are being received. Okay, means the way the message is received, by the way message is received will decide how much persuasive the communication is. So that's why here given senders need to actively listen. Sender need to actively listen, means how the arguments are being received. If the argument is received in a negative way, then in that case the sender of the message or sender of the information should change his way of transmitting the information to the receiver. They should clarify, senders should clarify issues and add information to get their points across. So for that, here given means the senders should clarify issues. Senders should clarify issues and add information to get their points across. It means so that the receiver can understand what the sender is telling. Next, even content of the message. The next given content of the message. So what type of message it is? The content of the message, that is the nature of information and arguments it contains, will also influence the learning process. The receiver of the message is always evaluating the meaning and implication of the information they are being given. So that's why here we should always consider that what type of message or the information is being transmitted, because receivers evaluate so what type of message or information he or she is getting. So that's why content it is very important. Method of communication. So face-to-face communication and telephonic conversations are most appropriate for persuasive communication. Formal written letters, memos and emails are best suited for conveying detailed factual information that requires time and effort to digest and act on. So it means face to face and telephonic communication will be more persuasive as compared to other non face to face and telephonic conversations. And whenever detailed information is being transmitted, then in that case we can use written, you can say written method to transmit information. And the fifth one given, characteristic of the receiver. So how characteristic of the receiver will affect whether the communication will be persuasive or not. First given, receivers who are themselves highly competent and have high level of self-esteem are less likely to be taken and swayed by logical or emotional information and arguments they believe are flawed. It means here we can say what type of information, okay, what type of information is being transmitted may be persuasive if the person is not or you can say the person does not have high level of self-esteem, and if the person has high level of self-esteem, then in that case it will be difficult for the sender of the message to persuade the receiver of the message. Second given, people with high self-esteem are very useful to have around, because they are frequently the ones who will challenge the ideas or suggestions of others or lenders or leaders when they sense that those ideas are flawed. Yeah. People with high self-esteem are very useful to have around, because they are the first ones who are going to deviate, or you can say who are going to challenge the current situation. They are going to change things, they are going to take first steps for improving things. And next given, devil's advocacy and dialectical inquiry. So devil's advocacy and related technique, dialectical inquiry are ways of overcoming cognitive biases and promoting organizational learning. Okay. So devil's advocacy and related technique given inquiry are ways of overcoming cognitive biases. Okay. So here these two techniques are devil's advocacy and dialectical inquiry overcome cognitive biases and promote organizational learning. So what it is, devil's advocacy? Devil's advocate is a person who is willing to stand up and question the beliefs of more powerful people, resist influence attempts, and who works to convince others that new ideas or plans may be flawed or wrong and harmful. Here you see willing to stand up and question the beliefs of more powerful people. So devil's advocate is the person who questions the beliefs of more powerful people and resist the influence attempts by the powerful people. An organization that uses devil's advocacy institutionalizes. So now in case any organization is going to use devil's advocacy, will institutionalize dissent, institutionalizes dissent by organizing a manager or management team the role of devil's advocate. The devil's advocate is responsible for critiquing ongoing organizational learning and for questioning the assumptions the top management team uses in the decision making. So that's all about this. Okay. Next given, collateral organizational structure. So what this says, an organization can attempt to improve learning and decision making by establishing a collateral structure, that is an informal organization of managers that is set up parallel to the formal. And setting up organization, so you can say a formal, setting up of informal structure parallel to the formal structure, so that the decision making of formal structure is going to be evaluated by informal, or you can say by informal structure. So that's why here written, an organization can attempt to improve learning and decision making by establishing a collateral structure. What is this? A collateral structure is an informal organization of managers that is set up parallel to the formal organizational structure to shadow the decision making and action of managers in the formal organization. Managers in the formal structure know that their decisions are being evaluated by others and become used to examining the assumptions that they use to test alternatives and arrive at a solution. It means here managers in the formal structure know that their decisions are being evaluated by other people also, so that they become more cautious, they examine more what type of decision making they are taking. Okay, thank you all. I think this is the end of this chapter. Yes, this is the end of 12th chapter. Thank you.